Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. So today here we are going to learn a new concept and that is serializer. So what is serializer? That is nothing but it's just simply converting our Django models to JSON format. That is, whenever some data is coming, before saving that data to the database, we are converting the data into query set. Similarly, while we are getting data from the front end as a query set, we cannot just expose the data, then we need to serialize the data from the query set to JSON response. You can see from the official website, let me show you. Here you can see that there are class that is a serializer, model serializer, hyperlink model serializer, list serializer, best serializer, advanced serializer uses. The most used serializer which normally company use that is a model serializer and the class serializer. We have used a very simple project using the concept of serializer. So let me just show you the project. Here, what we have done is that we are continuing with the same project previously which we had done in the previous video. Inside the basics, what we will do? We will create a models file which is already there. We will not create it. Model file is already there whenever you will create the app. We will create a serializer file. In the models.py file, what we are doing? We are creating a class. So let me first tell you what is the purpose of models file. It is responsible for defining the database structure that is using the Django's object relational mapping. That is, whenever there is we are declaring each model, that is typically it is representing a table in the database. Suppose this is the model, so here the name, here the model class name is person, and we are inheriting from the model. We are using the inheritance concept here. We are inheriting models from the class model, and we are giving the name of the class model as person. And here we are using the column that is name and age. That is, here what it will do, Django will automatically generate the corresponding structure query language schema based on this model. Here there will be a separate name and age column in the database. So here person is a model, and here you can see the name equals to models dot character field max length equals to 100. This creates a column name having the name of the column as name that can store up to 100 characters. And here we are using integers field. There are many field: character field, integer field, decimal field, float field. We will use according to our requirement. And here the integer field which will create a column name having age which will store the integer value. And we are using another thing, that is, while we will run our server, first we have to type two command, that is python. Let me show you here. Python manage something, but it got hanged. Let me close the command prompt. Let me once again open my project. So you know how to open the project. That is, we will simply go to the script and then we will activate our virtual environment, and then we will go to our project directory, and then we will write code dot to open the Visual Studio Code. So it got opened, and now in this command prompt I will type python manage.py. Then I will write make migrations. This python manage.py make migration and python manage.py migrate, what it normally does is that it allows Django to automatically creates the corresponding database table when we run this migration. You can see we are applying all the migration, that is admin authentication basis content type sessions running. So it will tell that to create the corresponding database table, what will be there in the database table, that is the name and the age, when we will run this python manage.py make migration. Now we will come to the serializer.py file. For that we have to import serializer. So from where we will import this serializer? From Django REST Framework we are importing serializer, and from dot models we are importing the person. That is, from the class models we are importing the person. As you can see, in models we have defined the class name as person. So let's come to this serializer file. So as I have previously in the beginning of the video I have told that what is the purpose of serializer, it is just converting the models to JSON. I will show you one picture after explaining this code. So let me first explain the code which is written here, and then I will show you one picture for better having a clear understanding of the serializer part. So here we are using a people serializer as a serializer class name, and we are passing model serializer class. To know which model we have to serialize, we need another class, that is the meta class, and which will also we can tell it as an inner class, because inside this class we are using the meta class, so we can tell it as an inner class. And in this meta class we have add model field, which automatically knows that this particular serializer is linked to that particular model. That is, whenever we are declaring the model here, there is the person, you can see that whenever we will click to this person it will come to the model class. So it will tell that this particular serializer is linked to that particular model. And here we have mentioned the field inside, like not writing this way, you can also write this way also, that which are the fields you want to serialize from the model class. Suppose name, you can see in the models file we are having two field, name and age. Suppose we want to serialize only the name, then we will write like this, and if we want to serialize age also, then we will write like this. And there are, suppose etc, there are another field, suppose there are a field, b field, so we will just mention. And if we need to have serialize all the fields, then simply we can write this way also. And suppose if you want to exclude some field, for that we have to write exclude. Suppose I don't want to serialize this name field, so I will write this way, exclude the name field. But here I want to serialize all the fields which are mentioned in the models file, so I will write in this manner. So this is the logic which is written in the serialize.py file. So now let's just go to the views.py file, where the main logic is written here. So why we need this views.py file? Because it contains the logic for handling the API request. Only for this particular project, I have used the get and the post method There are many methods, that is update is there, delete is there, patch is there, put is there. You can use, and I will show in the later video about the update and the delete part. For this video I have given it a short, and for that purpose I am using only the get and the post method. Here we are creating an API, you where we will get all the people, and also it will create the people. For getting the people, we are using the get method, and for creating the people, you will use the post method. Okay, and also we are here we are using the decorator. In the previous video, I have also explained about the decorator. So decorator are nothing. That is, it decorates the function, giving us something different behavior, right? It just modifies the function. Here we are using the this decorator, and which will ensure that the function can handle only get and post request. Now inside this function, that is the person function, whenever it is getting the request, it will come to this if part. If it is get, then it will retrieve all the person record from the database. For that purpose we are using all, because it will retrieve all the person records which are there in the database. Then it will serialize them into JSON format. And for that, we are using this people serializer. For that, we have to write this line, that is from basics.serializer, we are importing people serializer. Because when you are clicking this, we will come to the serializer file. And here you can see then when we are serializing the data, then it will return a query set, and the query set will be having more than one objects. For that purpose we are using here many, and then it will return the JSON response. You can also use the status code. Here I have used the status code 200 for the get method. For that we have to import the status. This is the part of the if. Now we will discuss about the elif part. Suppose this if condition don't get operate, then it will come to the elif part. So elif, it is written that the request method is post. What it will do, it will take the JSON's data from the request, and then it will validate using the people serializer. If it's validated, then it will save it to the database, and then it will return a success status, that is a status 201 will be created. That is, whenever there is a post method, it will see whether the data is serialized or not. For that we are using here the request, and if it's serialized, then it, after checking whether it's a validate, then it will save it to the database. So this is the main function of the post method. And if this if condition, that is, if the serializer part is not valid, and if this goes false, then it will return the response, that is it's a invalid data, and the data, it will show the status 400 batch request, that is it will give a error response. That is, if it's invalid, then it will give a error message. So how the logic it is going here? First, whenever the client will send an API request, okay, first telling about the flow of the logic, let me show you how the program is getting run. For that, let me open my Postman. So this is the toolkit which we will use for any kind of method, that is get, post, put. That is, we will give here the API, and then we will fetch the data from the database. We will save the data to the database. I've already used it. Whenever you will, first time you will use, you will see that when you are giving the API. Okay, so first let me run the server. So it's got complete run. So my service is running now. So when you will give the API, okay, for that I have to show you another thing, that in this API folder, in the URLs file, you have to mention the API name. Here I have used the API as a person, and whenever you will click to this person, it will come to the view file where the person function is defined. And you know that in Python, for defining the function, we use the diff keyword. And here it is taking the request parameter, whatever the request it is coming from the server. So here whenever I'm clicking it and I'm sending a get, for the beginning, means when you will run for the first time, it will show a empty list, because there is no data in the database. But I have already run and given some data, so it will show some data. See, I have already given some data. That is my ID. Object 1 is that Swarup Kumar Shah. ID 2 is Prashun. ID 3 is Sohail. ID 4 is Polomi. ID 5 is Rita. You can see the name and the age which I have given as a field in the model. And these are those fields which we are serializing, and then we are saving it in the database. And ID here 6, we are giving the name Shonodi. So let me show you giving a post request. Suppose I'm want to add another data to it. So for that, let me write here. I'm giving another name. Suppose Lipika, and let me give her age as 31. And now I want to send it. So you can see the data, it got saved to the database. And now I want to get all the data which are there in the database. When I have given the this particular API, it is showing all the data. See, this the data which I have added last, it is showing. That is, our program is running successfully, and it is showing a success as 200. Okay, because we have declared the success status here 200 for get, and for post we have given 201. And if there is an error, then it will give a HTTP response, that is 400. So this is the whole logic it is going here. So let me show you how the program flow is going on. First, when the client sends an API request, then for get request it will fetch all the person, and for post request it will create a new person. When a Django gets a GET request, it will fetch the data from the database, it will serialize the data, and then it will return it in the JSON format. And if it's post, then it will validate the data, because without validating it, it cannot get saved into the database. Then it will return the new object in the JSON format. And for success, it will give a JSON data with 200 OK for get, and for 201 for post. And for error, it is 400. So let me show you a picture. Here you can see, that is, whenever there is a request, then the URL gets hit. Upon getting the URL hit, it will come to the view file. Inside the view file, it will go to the serializer and the model will work with the database, and the serializer will serialize, that is, it will convert the Django model into the JSON format, and then it will return the response. So this is the whole logic it is going behind. That is, for Here it is coming first to the urls.py file. Upon getting urls.py file, it is going to this API folder. Inside this API folder, it is getting the API getting mapped. It will hit to the this view function. That is a function defined in the view. As there is a get and post method declared method is there, we are using this decorator. It will, if there is a get request, it will run this logic. If there is a post request, it will run this logic. It will validate, and if there is not validation, that is not that is serialized, and it will return a response with a status code of 400. So this is the whole logic going, and I hope it is cleared. Stay tuned to the next video where I will show us the update and the delete part, and much more we will cover in the next all videos. Much more interesting topics will come. And bye bye. Have a great day.